Better now? Hello? Is this better? Okay. Sorry, I had the mic a little further away. Okay, great. So, yeah. So the top row are our EECS graduate staff. So from left to right, we have Professor Murat Arcak, and he's our vice chair of master's programs. Then it's me, Michael. I am the master's graduate advisor here at EECS. So any sort of MEng related inquiries, you can contact me first. My supervisor, Shirley Solano, is our department manager and director of the grad affairs. And then we have this year joining us Tiffany, who I think she just came online, right? Hi, Tiffany. Thanks for joining us. She's also one of the grad student services advisors. So if you can't get a hold of any of us, then Tiffany is also available. And she splits time between this role and also she's an assistant director of equity and inclusion in our department as well. So great. The bottom row, I think maybe perhaps you guys have gotten some emails from some of these folks and or already interacted with them as well, but we collaborate with the Fung Institute for this program. And so from left to right would be Julie. She's in charge of career development, and she'll be sending out a lot of informational stuff about like job fairs, professional development opportunities, and seminars and whatnot. Claire and Yvette are the student services advisors on the Fung end. And then Beth and Bradley are the associate directors and director of program development and student affairs, respectively. Okay. I didn't put down on this slide, I should have, but you can find me in 215 Corey Hall. And because we're on a hybrid schedule, right now I'm only in the office from Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I'll publish that somewhere later on for you guys. So if you ever, wanted to drop by in person, say hi, just to have a chat about anything, I'm in 215 Corey. Okay, so this is a breakdown of the year, basically for the MEng program. It's slated as 2-semester, 1 academic year program, and so for the fall, you can look at the breakdown. Your schedule will be filled with technical electives, and then engineering leadership and boot camp classes, as well as the capstone component, which is coming later. So for most of your schedules right now, I would assume that you have the technical elective units and then also the Fung-related coursework. But the capstone project units, which is I think 296 MA for the fall, will come later. And so I believe Claire or one of the other student service advisors over at Fung will create these course numbers once the capstone assignments have been finalized in later this month, early September, and then sent out to the respective team members. So it'll be a full course load, and you'll have your hands full with the graduate coursework here at EECS, as well as the the ramping up research, as well as your leadership coursework. For the spring, it's pretty much the same. You guys start a little earlier, January 4th through the 13th, a couple weeks coming back from winter break, and then it'll be 2 electives as well for the spring. Capstone research really ramps up in the spring, and obviously you'll be doing kind of other professional development stuff, like perhaps looking for jobs during this time. So again, hands full with a full course load for spring as well, and we'll get into more details about the requirements. Can everyone hear me? Is my voice okay now? Is everything
We can hear you.
All right, perfect. This is just a screenshot of the academic year. So official instruction begins August 24th. So we're about 3 weeks out from official instruction. That's when classes officially begin. And so that goes all the way until December 16th, Friday. And the week before that is finals week. So the 12th through the 16th. For spring, MEngers will be here earlier. I think January 4th was the slide before, right? January 4th, right? But official instruction begins on the 17th, and then it goes all the way until the end of spring semester, which is Friday, May 12th, with finals week being May 8th and May 8th through the 12th. We hold our departmental comprehensive exams sometime between the end of April, early May, which is the RRR week. You can see here, reading, review, recitation week. Didn't know that acronym. Okay, anyways, so that's going to be the period in which we'll be administering the departmental comprehensive exams. For the FUNG related comp exam, I believe that takes place sometime in November, with the second round being in January. But yeah, that's just a little FYI. So, degree overview. The MEng degree requires at least 25 total units of credit and comprehensive exam. Those credits are allocated across 3 essential areas. So there's 4 required courses in the technical department that you are admitted to, and specifically you must take 3 courses within your area of concentration. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But depending on the number of units of these classes, you will be taking 12 to 16 units. Then you have 8 units of Fung Institute Business and Leadership courses. And so there's 2 units of boot camp, and then 2 units of boot camp in August and January, respectively, and then the communications classes plus the teaming, coaching, and project management courses. So to wrap that up, there's 5 units of capstone research, which is tied to your capstone project. This includes a final team report, and then the grading for this is basically over the course of the year. And so for the first semester, you'll receive an in progress, and then that will carry over into the spring semester, where after comp exams are administered and you give your capstone highlight, or I think it's the technical highlight, presentations and whatnot, and then submit your final team report, then a grade will be assigned by your capstone advisor. And that would be representative of your contributions for the entire year. Okay, next slide. So a little bit more information about what I mentioned earlier. Overall, the program has a minimum GPA of 3.0 that you must maintain. For the EECS department, we have an additional departmental technical elective GPA, minimum GPA. So we expect that students earn a minimum of 3.5 GPA for the technical electives. And so courses for which students receive a B- or below a B- will not count towards satisfying your degree requirements. So just kind of keep that in mind. With regards to graduate coursework and grading, I think a B- is kind of, you have quite a bit of gaps in the the understanding of the subject material. So it's a little different from undergraduate grading, which is why we wouldn't accept anything below B-. Sorry, did someone say something? Okay, I heard something over the mic. Anyways, like I mentioned earlier, at least 3 of your 4 technical electives must be from the course list of the concentration you're admitted to. Oops, sorry. And the remaining 4th course can be chosen from your own or another MEng area of concentration within the EECS department. So I do want to stress within the EECS department, and it must be on the MEng approved course list as well. We had a couple situations where students misunderstood this and took courses from other departments. You cannot substitute those for EECS technical coursework in satisfying your MEng degree requirements. If anyone has any clarifications for this, feel free to contact me. So overall program GPA must be a 3.0. Departmental technical elective GPA must be 3.5. A little information or more information about the master's comprehensive exam. So for the Master of Engineering degree, the technical report component is replaced by what is called a comprehensive exam. And there's two parts to this. There's a leadership component and also a technical or departmental component. So the leadership comprehensive exam will be administered by the Fung Institute, and that's usually held, I believe, in late fall, early spring. It says here it'll be held in early spring. So the exact date, I'm not sure, but I'm sure Fung has it already. So you can talk to them. But the format will be an individual oral exam related to your capstone leadership experience, and you'll be assessed to pass fail. If you do fail, a student who fails one or both components of the exam may, with the concurrence of the examining committee and graduate advisors, retake the components of the exam that he or she failed. Students who fail one component of the exam and then fail the retake of that component will either be recommended, or so you can kind of read that. So I think you have two chances. I haven't heard of any situations where we've had people fail twice, but yeah, there's information about that. The technical comprehensive exam, like I mentioned, will take place in late spring. And for the EECS department, we have a oral examination. It will be basically a technical presentation along with your team, where you will be giving, the overview, results, progress, contributions regarding your capstone project. And then this will be presented to a master's committee along with your capstone advisor present, and there will be some cross-examination afterwards. And so people will be assessed pass fail based on that. The other component of this is obviously a report that's going to be aligned with the capstone course. And so the team will be responsible for, submitting one report per group for the capstone project. I just want to talk a little bit about equity and inclusion. So our department, is a safe space, and we welcome all people from all walks of life and backgrounds. And so, if ever you feel that this was not the case, or if you have an incident, we do have staff and also faculty that you can reach out to. And so there are some points of contact here. But I do want to just stress that, and we do want to foster, a sense of community, and so that's important. Other resources, campus resources here are listed, and so I'll share this presentation with y'all afterwards as well. But you can take advantage of Bear Walk, especially if you're on campus at night. They'll have an officer come out and walk you to your residence, or to the shuttle or whatnot. So take advantage of that, but also overall just be vigilant and be. I always like to just kind of use the buddy system, and where you're with someone else, so you can have another pair of eyes just to. But other than that, health and counseling services are through the Tang Health Center, so you can take advantage of that, and I've provided some resources there as well. If anything wasn't covered in the slides, right now I think is it's time that we've set aside for people to ask questions. So you can either raise your hand in the chat, and I'll call on you, or you can submit the question in the chat, and then I'll just go down the list of questions and respond to those, Murat, or whoever it's relevant to. Other than that, you can reach out to me. Here's my email, Tiffany. and then the Fung staff here as well for any sort of academic related questions for the MEng program. I also created a Slack workspace. So if you click on the link in the slides, and I'll share this with the MEngers over the listserv later, but you can, kind of ask questions either with your classmates, talk about, courses that you think might be interesting or worthwhile to take, or just, it's just a space where, you guys can congregate and talk. And so I'll be there. You can ping me as well. And yeah, that's another resource because, we get a lot of emails, and especially for fall startup, things will be busy. So I recognize that, emails sometimes might take a while. Okay, so I'll go down. Let's see the questions now. If we have any, let's see. Open this chat here. All right, so there's some confusion about the technical GPA requirement. So yes, you are correct. The B+ equivalent is a 3.3, which is below a 3.5. So then the assumption is you would want to get A's or A minuses. I think A minus is the 3.5 cumulative. Overall, I mean, you have 4 classes, so if you kind of stumble a little bit, it's not the end of the world. But we do hold our students to a high standard, and so that's why there's that requirement. Are we allowed to take an EECS technical elective for 2 units as long as we meet the end requirement? Oh, that's a great question. So thank you for bringing that up. I was going to mention this earlier. There are some variable unit courses, like the special topics classes, and you'll see that the unit assignment that is tied to those classes varies on the amount of work that you have to, submit or do for that class. For the course, or in order for the course to satisfy the technical elective requirement for the MEng program, we ask that students take the maximum number of units for that course. And so I think that affects the 294 special topics classes that Dawn is teaching this semester. Perhaps Gerald as well, I'm not sure, but for future classes as well, please take the maximum number of units. So that basically implies that you have to submit homework, show up to lectures, take the exams, do the capstone, project for the course if there is one, etc. So the maximum number of units for these special topics courses.
So Michael, let me answer Adish's question. So B minus is for a class basis. Okay, so B minus, if you fall below B minus, then you can't count that class towards your degree requirement. Now you can get a B in a course and A in other courses, and that way your GPA will be 3.5 or higher. So that's the difference between having to meet the minimum of B minus threshold in each class and 3.5 overall in average. Does that answer the question? Adish, please unmute if.
Yes. So it's the cumulative one, got it.
Yeah. But individually, each course has to be no worse than B minus.
Right. Yeah.
Got
so
it. Thank you.
Better in certain classes, and you might stumble in other, and it offsets. So you have a cumulative of 3.5, and that's fine. People are very worried about this cutoff. It's not a hard cutoff. Obviously, we want to see improvement over the course of the year, and we understand, a lot of folks are coming from, international institutions, and our EECS coursework, like I mentioned before, is very tough. It's very strict, stringent, and so Murat can, shed more light. And I've seen people's enrollments so far, and I'll address that, I think, later after we answer some more questions. But we don't recommend taking more than 2 technical electives per semester. The reason for that is because you'll have your Fung technical or Fung leadership coursework as well as your capstone research, and so that really is a handful, and it's a lot of work already.
I also want to second that, especially if you're coming from an international institution. I myself was an international student, and I was used to taking like 6-7 classes a semester. And in the US, you don't take as many because each course includes a lot more work, homework, projects, and so on. Even if you are used to this system, graduate courses are different than undergraduate courses. So if you're used to taking like 4 undergrad classes in another US institution, that's just too much for a MEng. I mean, even PhD students, when they are starting, we tell them not to take more than 2. A MEng is in a sense a little tougher because you have a very limited period of time here. And in this period, you have to do all kinds of things like the leadership courses, capstone. So it really is a busy period. So more than 2 technical electives is not a good idea. And also don't underestimate the classes. Some of them can be rather technical. So you may want to have some cushion for having to put in extra work to catch up if it comes to that.
Thanks, Murat. Gavin, you asked to clarify, do CSEE classes count under EECS, or does the free technical elective need to be specifically listed under the EECS course code? So there's CS division, there's EE division, and then there's also these classes that have EECS, like 206 or 251, 227, for instance. There isn't a distinction. They're all counted under the EECS umbrella. The main thing is that we publish a separate subset of MEng approved courses that are pre-vetted by Murat and I, and the faculty who we think these courses are appropriate for MEng students, and so that's what you're allowed to take. I know that there's maybe some alumni here in from Berkeley undergrad. Some of these classes, obviously, you might have taken the undergraduate versions of. If you find that this is there's a class that piques your interest, that you've taken the prerequisites for and qualify for, you can talk to me individually. But for most intents and purposes, I would just suggest everyone go off of the MEng approved course list. When will the fall semester leadership courses open for registration? So I believe they were already available, but like I mentioned, there's some classes like your capstone units that haven't been created yet. Once capstone assignments are finalized, then Claire will create those course numbers so that you can enroll in them. Yeah, I mean, if you want to share the Discord group, that's fine. You can also put that in the Slack workspace, and the more the merrier. That's totally fine.
But don't expect Michael to be responsible to
right,
that. He has
yeah,
not enough
right.
sites to check and respond.
Right. Thank you, Murat. Yeah, so only through official emails or like officially, kind of sanctioned workspaces or whatnot, I'll be checking those. Haven't enrolled in communications for engineering leaders or project management. I believe that the enrollment for those have already opened up, so you might want to email Claire about that and see if you can still be added to one of the classes that you're interested in. Okay, well, one of your classmates just responded that the boot camp courses are the only ones available, so maybe that will change next week, which is when I believe boot camp starts for y'all for fall, right? So Claire or Yvette should be able to provide more information about enrollments for that, but I thought I saw some people enrolled in courses already, so yeah. Anyhow, I think I was going to mention something, right? No, I think we covered it about coursework. Any other questions?
Michael, this is Tiffany.
Yeah.
Both you and Murat were speaking to some of the relative academic challenges of the program. Can you speak to how overall, very generally, how successful most students are in the program?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had any people not complete this program. The the expectation is, with our admissions, you're all great students. We have, high expectation, and obviously, we think you're all great students. So I haven't come across anyone who hasn't finished the program, but obviously there are, you know, challenges and obstacles that each of us encounter. And obviously the last couple of years have been really, really tough for everyone. So I understand, some of the things are outside of your control. And if that's the case, please come talk to me or Tiffany or, Murat or anyone, and let us know so that we can help you. Um, there's been a accommodation the last couple of years, and I will mention this actually. This is what I actually wanted to talk about was, because of the pandemic and because of the nature of remote teaching and whatnot, for the last couple of years we have had a third semester extension available to students who want to stick around, do some more independent research, perhaps take another class, and just, kind of lengthen the tenure of their stay here. Um, that I believe is still being offered by exception this year. We do usually publish an application in late fall for that, with the capstone assignments this year being, um, moved to marketplace. The main component of this extension is tied to your capstone advisor. And so if you are interested in, say, like an industry project, right, we cannot guarantee an extension because those industry projects are usually offered for the scope of this year. And so extensions in that case would not be possible. But if you're interested, again, this is something that is, I think, going away after this year, but is still available. Talk to me later if that's something that you're interested in, and I'll probably be able to share more information about it later in this fall semester after we get some clarity on it.
Well, let me tell you that, this third semester thing is, as Michael mentioned, is, in the past years, I think it was more freely used, but I think going forward, it will be only real exceptions. And again, like Michael said, some projects just don't have the option of extending. And so industry or not, I would not, assume that the capstone advisor will be willing to continue into a third semester. So really don't count on it or don't plan around the third semester. We have had situations in the past where a student would want to, go for this option already in November, December, at a time when the, capstone supervisor didn't even know what the student would be, how much the student was performing and whether it would be worth continuing for a third semester. So I want to say, just don't count on third semester, don't plan accordingly. If there is a really good reason that arises along the way, I think this year we may still make an exception, subject to many, many things, advisor consent, satisfactory progress in the program, and so on. But it's best not to count on that. This is a one-year program. It's meant to be that way, and it will remain that way. On the question of, how hard are the courses? Yeah, the classes are technical. Grading is not so strict. That's why, the 3.5 GPA hasn't been a big problem in the past. But the courses are technical, and the expectations are very high in terms of projects, classwork, and so on. Students failures are rare, but we have had students who left, like before the end of the first semester, for example. Now, that could have been a combination of personal factors. It can also have been because of, the courses being not the type they were expecting. So I wouldn't say nobody has not been able to complete the program. It's hard to say whether they really left for personal reasons or they did not think they were performing at the level they wanted to be performing. It's hard to say. So don't take it for granted. This is going to be, somewhat of a challenge, but you're going to make a lot of progress in professional development in this 1 year. But don't, again, you never want to take anything for granted, because that's usually how things start going wrong.
Thanks, Murat. Okay, so and thanks, Tiffany, for sharing those links. If there aren't any other questions at this time, then I welcome you to Berkeley. We look forward to meeting you all in person and helping you out throughout this program this year. And without further ado, that's it. So.
And please feel free to unmute and ask questions that way too.
Yeah.
It's not chat only.
I'll have a few more minutes. Okay, go ahead if you have another question. Do you want to just unmute and let us know, or? Okay.
Yes, hi. So I have a question about the EECS 206.
Right.
So how many seats will be reserved for the RES?
Yeah, so I sent out a announcement yesterday. Yeah, yesterday about that to Res and SPCOM students who this class is open to. So if you responded to that, then I've already noted that you're interested in the course. Right now, we're still trying to figure out, how many seats that we can obtain. Originally, when we were setting the reserve cap for this course, it was set for 12, and that's what we're looking to obtain. So I can't say for sure, but that's why I was taking polls and getting an accurate head count from people. So I hope to have a resolution by early next week for those folks who have emailed me back.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. For next week's MEng orientation, will we be expected to attend? That, I think there are in-person components that people are expected to attend, but you might want to contact the Fung advisors and see which components are mandatory and which are not. I think their understanding of people still making their way to campus or to Berkeley right now, so just clarify that with them. Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for you for that. Sorry. Okay. Any other questions? Well, again, thank you for attending. Look forward to meeting you all this year. And at this time, I'll stop the recording.